Hello, welcome to Chapter 2.2 lecture. Today we're going to take a look at using cash flow identity to explain the cash flow. So cash flow identity is very similar to the accounting identity, where the left side of the balance sheet is equal to the right side of the balance sheet, but this time we're only looking at our cash flow. So it shows the firm's use of cash it generates from its operating decisions to purchase any new assets, or pay creditors, or pay the owners of the company. Now it can be broken up into three sections. We can see here cash flow from assets, cash flow to creditors, and then finally cash flow to owners. In terms of the first section, our cash flow to assets, we take a look beginning with our operating cash flow. So that's typically the cash that's generated from our actual operations. And once we have that, we can start to see where that cash is going. So in terms of net capital spending, that's purchasing any long-term assets. We want to take a look at that. And finally, we want to look at our change in net working capital. So remember, that's our current assets minus our current liabilities. So we want to see if there's any change in our short-term assets. From that, we have some equations there that we can take a look at. They'll be helpful when we do our calculations. Next is our cash flow to creditors. So we have to take a look at the amount of money that we're spending on our interest expense. Okay, so remember, that's the money that we're borrowing for our current debts. But then we also need to take a look at our net new borrowing from creditors. So are we taking on any new debts? Are we paying off any principal? That has to be accounted for as well in terms of our cash flow. So once we've figured out the cash flow to creditors, finally we can take a look at the third component, which is our cash flow to our owners. So in this case, we want to look at it from two parts. The dividends is our return to capital to the owners. So how much are we paying our owners for the money they've already invested? But then we also want to look at net new from owners. So any common stock, that's a change in common stock. Is it increasing? Has there been any additional contributions by the owner? So in other words, are we borrowing more equity from our owners? What is the change in equity? So that's just a brief explanation of the cash flow identity. You can see it's three components. For more details, please take a look at the reading, and good luck with our homework questions. Thanks for watching, and happy financing.